Hey viewers and hey Carbon Knights. Today we have a slightly different style of video. More of an opinion piece or just a short discussion on the fiasco that is Wall Street Journal and Wired versus PewDiePie. Poor PewDiePie over there. He may or may not be your most favorite YouTuber. Um, has been basically slandered to the point of, it's costing him some of his livelihood, which is, well, the guy has 53 million subscribers, but we want to sit here and show solidarity with PewDiePie and kind of give our 2 cents and show everybody why this is not okay. And I have with me Poseidon H2O and Dongvers, and we're just gonna to run through this and give our perspective on it. And hopefully, everybody's talked about this, but hopefully this will just add to the voices that are in support of Felix and his channel and his choices to do whatever kind of content he wants to do. Poseidon, I got you over there. How are you doing today, man? And what is your first initial thought on this?
I I gotta tell you, I work as a freelance writer on the side. I mean, I know you don't know that, but the Knights probably don't. And I used to take the Wall Street Journal as a credible source until I saw all of this. Like, I can't anymore ever take them seriously again. It's so much crap coming out of them right now. And it's not like I'm not a huge PewDiePie fan. I respect what he's done, like what he's grown, his business and everything. But his material is not necessarily what I go in for on YouTube.
Yeah, but you're also not in his target demographic of kids like age 10 or 12 to 20.
Well, yeah, and I would say younger adults. I'm a little older than most, especially most gaming YouTubers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dongvers, I think you touched on this point when it came to the Wall Street Journal, perhaps, but just how them being, or maybe it was you, Conrad, them being a credible source, but this person's a writer that wrote one of these articles, and actually I'm mistaken here. This is the Wall Street. I'm thinking about Wired right now. The other element in the writers that really had a hand in starting this snowball from hell for Felix, where it's not a journalist over at Wired, it's a writer. And then, so originally I get angry at the authors of these articles for not having any sort of integrity or connection, or whether it's either they don't care that they're so wrong or they're so ignorant that they're so wrong, and either way is not okay. But originally I was more angry at the authors, but now I'm angry at these establishments, the Wall Street Journal and Wired, because these guys, these companies have editors, and this didn't just something that a freelance writer typed up and posted with the sticker of the Wall Street Journal or Wired up. This had to go through editors, and they all, the collective thinking of these bodies still didn't go, oh, you know what, this is crap, we can't do this is not ethical, whatever you want to call it, and they still ran with this stuff, and it has cost Felix his potential to increase his income, which is easily grounds for a defamation lawsuit in my non-legal mind here. Like, I don't have a degree in law at all, but from what I've seen, that's all it really takes to give you a foothold. So is that something you touched on before, Dongvers?
Yeah, well, it's mostly just like what I was getting at was like a lot of this mainstream media stuff is like they'll take a story and they just kind of like run away with it. Really, like in the Wired article that Emma Ellis or whatever wrote, like she just like she didn't even. It's like she didn't even watch the videos of these things that she was quoting from. Like I think there was one instance, and I know Philly D went over this too, is like she was like PewDiePie basically called that Leslie Jones chick Harambe or whatever. There was a picture of her as Harambe or something, but it was done, he was typing in Harambe memes or whatever the fuck into that Microsoft AI thing that generates pictures and stuff. And it's just like, it goes back to that whole thing. It's like, well, this will make a good story, like, but you're not given the full story of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
well, these articles and kind of lumbering dinosaur media, like the Wall Street Journal, that are just the old school, they're the original creators or inventors of quote unquote clickbait. A flashy title in a
Right.
newspaper was the original form of clickbait. It wasn't clickbait because you were trying to sell physical newspapers, but it's the exact same idea. And these media outlets are so desperate to stay relevant against the new media that they're using these outrageous titles. And actually, H3H3 touched on this too, I saw from them, but it's a great point, so I want to reiterate it here, is that them using these outlandish, outrageous titles is just simply designed to bring in the clicks now on their online outlets, to bring in the volume. It doesn't matter. It's, I almost want to play that Zoolander clip. It doesn't matter how many people you hurt on your way, as long as you can put a name for yourself as a journalist.
Yeah.
And they're steamboating people, and they're just gasping for air against this new media, which doesn't have to answer to editors. All they have to do is have a camera and stay interesting. That's all they have to do. And these outlets with all these multi-million dollars behind them are getting very frustrated with it. And because to me, this looked like a hit piece. They basically went after YouTube's largest star in an attempt to take down. It was the biggest target, I guess, because he's just the largest presence on the YouTube community. And I don't think they really understood that the amount of support and backing that the internet has, the collectivism, that when you come after somebody, the what is it, the flack or the backfire you're going to receive. These authors, that's why I said before, like, they either don't understand how the new media works and the support that they're going to get, and like everybody can Google and fact check this stuff in 2 seconds. They seem to not realize this. Or if they're just willfully doing it just for the clickbait feature. I'm not sure about that, but either way, it's just a total lack of ethics, to the point, I would say, again, the whole legal, they're crossing the line into slander, like into the legal definition of slander, where they could get nipped really hard for it.
I think it's actually a combination of what you said. I think they believe that people come to them for their news, so they don't have to Google it.
Yeah.
Or maybe they think their readers are dumb enough that they don't know how to Google it.
Well, and that's it too, right? Like, a lot of people that get this news stuff, they just look on Facebook, right? They're looking on Facebook, they see this article, and then they don't even read the article. They just see the headline, and they run with the headline, right? And that's majority of people, because like they don't want, like, I don't know if they don't want to look into news and stuff like that, but I don't know. For me, it's always, if I see something, I'm gonna look into it, because I don't trust mainstream media, like, at all. I hate it. I dislike it. Like, on the same story, two different opinions of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
CNN, Fox kind of thing. It's like, I just want what's going on. I want the truth, and there's very few people that do that.
Well, sure. And well, like, here's the thing too with this whole, the context of all this, is that, I don't know, people are waking up to this more. They used to know it and then they forgot. Now we're figuring it out again. Is that jokes are jokes, and I fully support it. You or anybody, I support Felix, ability or right to make bad jokes like he did, which triggered this whole thing. I support Sarah Silverman's chance or platform to make bad jokes, and the reason I bring her up is they're attacking Felix for this little bit of Nazi imagery that he uses, and he usually uses it to show how ridiculous it is. Like, for example, in the Wall Street Journal's video on him, they show how PewDiePie used an image of Hitler for a transition. Like, and the whole point of that joke is to show how absolutely absurd it is to use Hitler as a transition slide. But so now he's a Nazi for using that imagery. Sarah Silverman dressed up as Hitler himself and went on a talk show. So where's the consistency? Why isn't she a Nazi now? Like, how come we're only going after these YouTube stars and these new media things, where we can't go? They won't go after the old stuff, because technically that talk show gave Sarah Silverman a platform to come on and use the pinnacle of Nazi imagery, Hitler himself. So I don't know. It's just, jokes are jokes. And when Sarah Silverman did it, you might not have liked it, but nobody had to uproar about it. When Felix did it, you might not have liked it, and I think he did receive some flack over some of that stuff, but I mean, it's okay to not like a joke.
Yeah, jokes aren't for everybody.
Mhm.
It's for the people who will enjoy them, and if the other people don't enjoy them, that's okay. You're allowed to have an opinion, but what you're not allowed to do is, like you said, slander somebody,
Go after their livelihood. Not
especially in a public forum that's supposed to be a factual magazine. Let's call it a magazine, 'cause
Well,
that's what it is. It's
really
to me
hurt
right
themselves.
now, the Wall Street Journal and the National Enquirer, same level.
Yeah, that's what I like. It's such hypocrisy of the Wall Street Journal, and people are. I mean, people are. The person is smart. People are stupid, but they're able to see right through this. And like you said, now they've downgraded. They've attacked Felix, and all they've done is help him. He's increased by subscribers like crazy. And the Wall Street Journal, you're going to watch it fizzle off. No one's going to take it as seriously anymore. I certainly. Before this, it started to happen within the last few months, but I'm not ever, taking anything they say for serious. They could say the Russians are actually invading. It's the whole boy who cried wolf thing. They've hurt themselves like crazy.
They could say the Russians were invading, and I could have Russians on my doorstep invading, and I would still check a different source.
Absolutely. The one thing too is their point is, Felix is using this Nazi imagery, and he is what do you want to call it? He is normalizing hatred or normalizing Nazism. Okay, well, if I would argue that when these companies, these outlets like the Wall Street Journal and Wired come out and they point to Felix's little jokes and they say, "Look, a Nazi, a Nazi." What they're doing is, let me put it this way for you. They're pointing at Adolf Hitler and they're saying, "Nazi, bad." And everybody gets that. You can see what the Nazis and Hitler did in World War II, not good. Then they point to Felix, which I would compare to, okay, so they pointed to Hitler and they said Nazi. Then they pointed to the next thing, which is Furby, and they said Nazi. And everybody looks at Furby and sees this cute little toy that doesn't hurt anything, that's a little bit of fun. And now you've got the law of averages. So you see this thing's a Nazi and it's super bad, and this thing's the Furby, which is super cute and not hurting anybody, is a Nazi. So it makes the word Nazi less powerful, and now people don't have a good context of, oh my god, this is hatred, that is really bad. They are overusing it, and they are normalizing the hatred of the Nazis themselves by pointing to things like Felix and PewDiePie's little stupid jokes and making it seem like it's the Antichrist.
Oh, exactly. Like, the only way words have meaning is if you give them meaning.
Absolutely.
And certain words need meaning. I know there's an argument about racist terms where using them a lot gives them less meaning. There's still a trigger warning for people and everything. But a Nazi will always be a Nazi. Like, there's no, even like the new Nazis or whatever that are out there nowadays, the fucking skinheads.
Mm-hmm.
Or what? I guess they're not all skinheads. Yeah. Sorry if you have a bald head. I mean, I'm bald myself.
Yeah, me too.
But the new skinhead Nazis or whatever, they're not Nazis, they're neo-Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
Because Nazi was a term for a certain group of morons that did terrible things, and these guys are just trying to be those morons, but frankly, they're a bunch of pussy bitches. Come at me, bros.
Everybody knows that, though, and that's why the neo-Nazi groups have failed to grab traction in the last 70, 80 years. They just, people know what Nazis are, they see what these guys are, and they're not having the message. We've already went down that road in Europe, we don't need to do it, it didn't work, it's not good. That's not what people want to be, so that's why their message doesn't get out.
Well, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Dongvers, did you see Felix's response video to all this shenanigans?
Yeah, I watched it. I kind of clip noted it, but yeah, I did watch it, and he did a really good job, I thought, and I especially like the end when he looks at the camera and he says, "Nice try, Wall Street," and he just fingers it and kisses his finger. Yeah. It's pretty good, yeah. And and it's since they started doing this, so, and I know Philly D covered this as well, but it's Sunday he got 18,000 more subscribers. Monday 21,000. Mm-hmm. Tuesday 34,000, and then Wednesday he got 51,000. Mm-hmm. So it's these media outlets, they're trying to take down this big bad guy, but it's like he's not. You're not even. He's not bad, and he's just a dude who makes fucking funny videos on YouTube.
That's right.
And all you're doing is giving him more of a platform and more media attention. And like I said, his views are climbing every fucking day. You know,
Well, this is the same thing that happened with, I don't know if you guys know, the Milo Yiannopoulos. The more they attack him, the stronger he gets.
Yeah,
Because their attacks are so flawed, and everybody can see that, and you just strengthen the opponent. That's why they call Milo Yiannopoulos, he's a editor at Breitbart, they call him a white supremacist Nazi. The guy is a gay Jew. Like,
Yeah.
give me a break. Now they're doing this with Felix, and anybody that goes and watches his thing can see, well, this is not what they say it is. Easily debunking it, strengthening him, and weakening, outlets like the Wall Street Journal and any kind of organizations that do that. It's really, and it baffles me how they don't understand that they're just hurting themselves. Because if you cut yourself with a knife when you're cooking some food, oh, I recognize this hurts myself. It is mind-boggling that these organizations don't see the self-harm they inflict on themselves. It's amazing, and that's why you'll see the end of them, sooner rather than later in the future.
Yeah, clickbait is a fine line. If you don't know how to do it right, it kicks you right in the nuts.
Yeah, it sure does. Oh man, one thing that has been super nice to come out of all this, the silver lining, so to speak, of this whole situation, is have we ever seen the YouTube community rally together to support Felix? I mean, years ago, PewDiePie had so much hate on the internet, or just by YouTube, I'll just for his ridiculous content. Like, even I just couldn't believe that this was the biggest, years ago, let's say 2-3 years ago, this screeching weirdo was just the most popular guy on YouTube, and I just went out of my way to avoid his channel and his content, because it would always be promoted because he was so popular. And in the last, I would say, even year, I've ended up going over to his channel, and I've enjoyed some of his more edgier comedy, because he's gone away from that whole screeching, cross-dressing, gaming weird stuff. With
yeah, he has some good stuff, like his Pokemon Go stuff. I laughed my ass off
funny.
at that shit. Like, it was really good.
And so,
hats
off
off
to
That paddle out in the ocean, Jesus.
hats off to Felix for growing his himself and his channel and reaching out to more people, and that's why this guy is #1. And it was just, like, again, so heartwarming to see all these. We're in the era of YouTube drama, to see all these channels come together. Even Drama Alert did a short piece showing that they didn't say we support Felix, but he did show that this is not okay, and they kind of went after the Wall Street Journal over there. And I don't watch his stuff at all either, but I've really been researching this whole PewDiePie situation for the last day. I know we're a little late to the game, but my real life schedule doesn't work on internet time all the time. So, but it's just been fantastic to see all these guys, start all these hashtags, free PewDiePie, and we're with Felix, all that kind of stuff you'll see out there. Hopefully that stuff trends for a little while to bring more awareness to this absolute dinosaur media and the hypocrisy of Disney and what is the YouTube Maker Studios? Is that the one?
Yeah, it's like YouTube. Yeah, he had like a season, one season of like Scare PewDiePie or something like that.
Yeah, it was on YouTube Red.
Yeah, season 2,
which
from what I read.
think that's a bad call for YouTube. But and that's the damage it does, right? Is they see an organization like the Wall Street Journal saying PewDiePie's a Nazi, and they go into damage control mode immediately. Like, Felix in his video didn't blame YouTube. I said he understands why. He understood Maker Studios, why they would drop him.
Yeah, and on the other side, I support Felix to make his jokes in his context. I support Maker Studios and YouTube to drop their ties to him as much as they see fit, because that's the two sides of the coin. And I believe in their Felix is free to do his thing, and YouTube and Disney and Maker Studios are free to do their thing, but everybody, there's consequences to what both sides do. And from what I can see, Felix is in a position to benefit more from this situation. And I'm surprised that those big companies that spend tons of money on bean counters didn't figure that out. Or maybe, maybe we're wrong. I'm not the end all be all for this stuff. Maybe I bet you Maker Studios, some of these YouTube studios, to keep Felix on as a big name, as promotion, like, hey, we're Maker Studios, we have PewDiePie, they might not even take their cut, or he's a large cut. They might actually be giving him all of his profits instead of keeping their cut, just to keep him happy and to keep him on their network, because another network is likely to come along and say, hey, we won't charge you if you come over here, just to get his name. So
Exactly.
if they're not making money off that guy anyway, I can see why, we're just getting all this Nazi stuff. But again, it wasn't like these Wall Street Journal guys, the authors were they Rolf Winkler and I'm just looking for their names. Oh yeah, Jack Nikas and Ben Fritz. Those guys are outraged for other people, it seems like. And then Disney and Disney doing this, dropping Felix, is really hypocritical. If you look at some of the older Disney cartoons, they have Donald Duck dressed as Hitler in Nazi imagery, and they have all kinds of cartoons that include swastikas from back in the day. So they should be from a position that understands, trying to make people laugh with this imagery that, no, it doesn't make you a Nazi. Mind-boggling. It baffles me. But that's why I wanted to make this short, I don't know how long it's going, but to make this video to kind of throw in our interpretation of the situation, of how crazy this is. And I'll leave it to you guys here, but I just, I support Felix. I hope he continues to be the #1 for a long time to come.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree completely with that. Like, he's he's a guy, and he makes some funny stuff, and yeah, maybe he fucked up or whatever, but I mean, everybody screws up. I mean, you're only human, right? So
let's make the punishment, if he did screw up, fit the crime. This
exactly.
Guy, let's stop with the fake outrage, everybody. Let's use jokes to tear down bridges and not to build them.
Yeah.
And Felix, if you're watching, buddy, we're with you.
We're with you. Hashtag we're with him. So thanks everybody for listening in, for our little our little interpretation and support for Felix. Hopefully you stand with him too, but if you don't, feel free to make your own video or to start a little discussion in the comments. That's what it's all about, free discussion. We'll see you next time.
I'm still here. I'm still making videos. Nice try, Wall Street Journal. Try again, motherfuckers.